Rev up your engines!
Mario says, how did you land such a hot wife, Scotty? Well, hey, if you've ever seen a picture of me on James Dean's grave that was taken when I was going to graduate school at the University of Illinois, you'll know I was decent looking back then. And I'm a personality, and my wife liked it. She knew about me because she's 3 years younger than me, and she lived 6 houses down the street on Cug Island. So she always knew, here's this guy riding back and forth on his motorcycle all the time. I wonder about him. So she thought it would be intriguing to go out with me. So she did, and we ended up getting married. Women like things that are intriguing. They also like things that are good looking, and a lot of women do like riding around on motorcycles, even though they don't really, that scares them, they find it interesting. And if you survive it, well, even more, that it's interesting and you survived. Keith Andre says, what do you think of the Nissan GTR? Okay, I'm not a Nissan fan since they merged with Renault, but the GTR is an interesting design, you know. I mean, they are fun to drive around, and they're very expensive to fix as they break, and most guys beat the heck out of them, so they do wear out, and buying a used one is a real big, chancy thing. So if you're going to buy one of those things, you really got to have it checked out with a fine-tooth comb before you throw your money out. But they are fun to drive around in. They put out some interesting cars. They really, when it was Datsun, they made the first reliable, dependable sports car of all time with that 240 when they came out with a Datsun 240. It was a sports car that went quick and didn't break and didn't leak oil. It amazed people when it first came out. It's just that now the quality's getting kind of, it isn't what it used to be. The Beast 22 says, Scotty, what do you think of the 1999 Chevy Camaro with the V6 3800? It has 200,000 miles, but it drives nice. Okay, it's a V6 and it's got 200,000 miles on it. Now, if you're going to buy that thing, of course you need to have a guy like me check it out, because it's a sports car. Somebody might have beaten the heck out of it. But the 3800 engine is really a decent engine that GM built. They can last a really long time. They're well-made engines. It's a 20-year-old Chevy, and it's got 200,000 miles on it. So don't give much money for it. That'll never be a collector's item. It's got a V6 engine. The V8s were the more popular ones. And if you can get it cheap and it runs good now, what the heck? You can have a fun little toy to toy around in. Just don't, think, oh, I'm going to put a blower and a turbocharger or a supercharger on it, make it go fast. Be happy with what it has and drive it the way that it is if you like it. And 3 says, what do you think of the 1.6 Geo Prism? Realize that a Geo Prism is pretty much a Toyota Corolla, and those things can run a really long time. The Geo Metros, they were junk. They were that 3-cylinder engine. The Geo Prism was made with Toyota Corolla engines, transmissions, brakes, and they could run just as long as a Toyota Corolla. So you find a used one in decent shape, they can be a great beater car for driving around in. August Angel says, my in-laws 94 Saturn SL 1.9. The motor jumps when it's in gear. I changed all 4 mounts because they were bad, but it's jumping like the mounts are bad. It jumps when it's in gear. So, and you changed all the mounts. You make sure you got them all changed, and it still jumps. That means there's only 2 things that can do that. One is the CV joints are worn, and when you put it in gear, they get loaded, and then you clunk, clunk. And the other is the transmission itself is wearing out. And I know those Saturns, and I'd bet 99% that it's the transmission starting to go out. Those had horrible transmissions in the things, and they cost so much money to rebuild. Every time I had a customer with a Saturn, transmission went out. None of them ever fixed them because I said, okay, I don't rebuild them, but let me check it. Yeah, definitely it's shot. And then I call up my transmission guys, and they say how much money it costs to fix, and it was always 2 to 3 times what the vehicle was worth, and they junk it. They never fixed it because they were so complicated. They cost so much to fix, and they broke all the time. So odds are it's the transmission going out. Shelley Thomas says, is there anything I can do about the melting dashboard in my 2010 Altima Coupe? Okay, I see, like I say, Nissan make these days. You got a melting dashboard. They can't even make plastic that can take the heat, You can always go to a junkyard, buy a used one. Of course, it's going to melt too because they're all cheaply made. There are companies that sell those dashboard covers, and some of them even have molded copies that you just take the mold that they sell you and it glues over the top of your old one. I did that with my old 81 Toyota Corolla SR5, and it didn't look bad. It just glued right over the top of the one because the old one got all warped and cracked. Don't mind it, stick that on. And see, those are aftermarket, so they're not going to melt like the original one because they're made out of better plastic. The one that I put on that Corolla, 12 years later, it still wasn't cracked. It was made out of better plastic.
So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.